Will you ever look like me? If you want to look like me, you've already lost. Accountability is a big deal to me. What you need to do is own what you did, because I don't want to hear excuses. I believe in accountability. I think at the end of the day, if you say he's got an ass full of steroids, and number one, I don't do it.
2 seconds later.
I'm on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician. This was the vocal minority, usually in the fitness category, driving to an unproductive conversation. I'm not a competitive athlete of any kind, so who the am I cheating?
A few years ago, this man swore up and down that he was 100% natural, no drugs or shortcuts. All he needed was raw organ meat, sunlight, and a diet he said your ancestors ate 10,000 years ago. He ate raw liver on camera and raw bull testicles.
I take that back. The testicle was not that good, but it wasn't that bad.
He wore a loincloth and he made one promise over and over, that he was 100% natural. He was not. He was spending about $12,000 a month on synthetic hormones 3 times a day, namely growth hormone and testosterone, though there were many others. The most natural man on the internet was more juiced up than most pro bodybuilders. This is the Liver King. The whole ancestral act came down to one motive, money, and one very well-timed costume.
More! More! More!
Allow me to introduce you to Brian Johnson. Around 2021, he showed up on TikTok and Instagram as the Liver King. He was in his mid-40s, he was shredded, built like a fire hydrant, shirtless, eating raw organs on camera. He's got a wife he calls the Liver Queen, and 2 sons he calls his savages.
Primals! Liver King is here with the entire pride, and we're stacking tenants. We're getting sun, we're getting earth, we're getting connected, we're getting the bond in the most expansive environment. Take a look.
And he preaches 9 rules that he calls the ancestral tenets. Sleep.
It starts with getting early morning sun. What you need to do is make sure that you have your cell phone off. You need to make sure that you finish your last meal 3 to 4 hours before bed. And last but not least is we do our best to take in the sunset as the final environmental cue that the day is winding down.
Eat.
The biggest things are making sure that you cut out all the crap, all the processed foods, all the liquid calories, all the seed oils. I'll tell you what you got to do is you go to a butcher, right? You go to the butcher and you say, can I get a pound of liver? Can I get 6 pounds of bone marrow?
Move.
It's perhaps the easiest of them all. But you know what we do after dinner is we just go walk around the block, and we walk around the block again. We walk around the block again, and we carry something heavy. We carry it on the back, or we carry it in the front.
Shield.
Is one of my favorite tenets. Start by turning off the Wi-Fi at night. Stop wearing perfumes. Stop wearing petrochemical clothing, also known as polyester.
Connect.
Might be the easiest thing you can do. Do you see this right here? All you have to do is put your hand on the tree. If you don't want to bend over.
Cold.
If you look around, everyone's wearing a jacket. It's not that complicated. Take off a jacket, take off a shirt, don't put it on to begin with. And then when you get really cold and you're shivering, you've done it.
Sun.
You gotta look and see where the nooks and crannies are. All throughout the day, you're gonna find places where there's sun. So you can't tell me from any high rise or anywhere you're at that you don't have access to sun.
Fight.
This is why we're here. So pick your passion. Pick your passion, no matter whether you're in the big city or you live back home in the woods, no matter where you are. If you fight for something of meaning, something of real purpose, this is how you get to express that.
And bond.
Right, Liver Queen and I go on a walk. We talk for 30 minutes. All we're doing is walking around the block. I get a bond with my family, and I get a bond with Liver Queen afterwards.
He preached living like a caveman, not like the soft generation of the modern day. It worked really fast. He's selling a fantasy that you can claw your way back to natural strength if you just eat the right organs and listen to a shirtless guy yelling at you.
Primals! Liver King and Liver Family are here just outside the processing facility for Primal Meats. And the last time as an Inner Circle tribe, as a family, we drank blood was with the Maasai. And now we get to do it again.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thanks.
Save some for Liver Queen.
Woo!
Liver King, out.
While he ate raw liver on camera, that was not what he was actually selling us. What he was actually selling us was a hell of a lot sketchier than that. Supplements. If you're enjoying this video and you'd like to see more like it in the future, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications. It would help a lot. Thank you. For a now undetermined period of time, we have been lying to the customer and serving them a product I would never personally consume. A single scoop of the whole feast has always been advertised as a grass-fed, grass-finished product of Sweden. If it was advertised, and I don't know at this point if it ever was, and it makes me sick to my stomach, 0% from Sweden and 0.4% from New Zealand. Not grass-finished, and in some cases not even grass-fed, possibly given antibiotics with suboptimal and very inflammatory omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. It should not even be recommended for human consumption. Raw liver was never the thing that he was selling. It was simply an ad. Johnson owned a supplement company that sold organ-based pills, liver, kidney, bone marrow, in a capsule for people who didn't want to chew on a raw cow organ. Every shirtless video drove traffic to the store. Reports put the empire at around $100 million. So every shocking thing he ate on camera sold bottles. The more unhinged the video, the more eyes that were on it. More eyes means more orders. It's really good marketing, and I will give him that. He understood the algorithm. It was looking for a spectacle, not real health advice, so he gave it a spectacle.
Primal need to know how hard Liver King Chef Lionel works on Tailgate Saturday.
I'm Liver King Chef Lionel, and for Tailgate Saturday, we smoked a whole cow. We smoked this with a mixture of hickory and mesquite wood for 12 hours. That's gonna make it very flavorful and very tender as well. To accompany this, we have some tzatziki sauce, we have some homemade guacamole, and we have some homemade chimichurri sauce. With every dinner, we're of course gonna have our raw bone marrow, raw testicles, and raw liver, because that's when you need to kick ass in line. We're also gonna have our whole feast protein shake, and then to finish everything off, we're gonna have our Liver King protein bar. That's what we're having for dinner tonight. Liver King Chef Lionel, out!
And it worked. For a few years, nobody could really prove a thing.
On the second day of Christmas, my H1 Hummer gave to me a barbarian.
His entire brand was based on one word. That word was natural. From the start, people in fitness looked at a 45-year-old that lean and vascular year-round and called his bluff. No way in hell that's natural. There's a whole genre of this online. It's called Natty or Not. People breaking down whether a physique is even possible without drugs. Greg Doucette is the one who comes to mind for me because I actually watched these videos back when this all unfolded. The Liver King was the most obvious knot anyone had ever seen, and so they asked him about it constantly. Every time he denied it flat out. He claimed it was the diet, the breathing, the liver, and the work. He said that you could look like that on nothing but living the way our ancestors did. That's not how reality works, and he was spending $12,000 a month proving it. And then, in late 2022, the illusion snapped.
Some very interesting news came to light that involves a very popular fitness influencer whom I'm sure you've all seen at some point. And just a couple days ago, much like my ass after eating spicy food, a big leak happened. Now, this is probably the least shocking news you've ever heard because anyone with eyes should be able to look at the Liver King's body and immediately deduce that this is not a naturally achievable physique in any universe. And especially not for someone of his age, mid-40s, he'd have to have had genetics gifted straight from Mount Olympus. Like, he's making it seem like he got huge from these things, and now he's revealing these secrets and selling them to you so you can get big and strong like him, but that's not really the whole story, clearly. It seems like he had a lot of help from an old human growth hormone over here. It's not really the supplements he's selling that worked for him, it's the goddamn HGH and everything else that he was taking. Now that this information has come to light, it's clear that what he has achieved with his own body is only replicatable if you also start cycling that kind of juice. Not from following his program or taking his bone marrow supplements.
In November 2022, a YouTuber named Derek, who runs a channel called More Plates, More Dates, posted a video called The Liver King Lie. Over 1 million views in a day. He covers steroids for a living, so he could prove that Johnson was not natural. And he had one thing a denial can't beat: receipts. Leaked emails sent by Brian Johnson himself to a bodybuilding coach laying out his entire drug cycle in his own words. Growth hormone, testosterone, Deca, and Winstrol. About $12,000 a month of it. 3 injections a day. One expert said it was more growth hormone than most Mr. Olympia bodybuilders run. In the emails, he's planning the cycle around staying camera ready all year round. As the face of a supplement brand, the Natural Act was purely a line in a budget. He even emailed Derek once before any of it happened, the exact guy who would go on to expose him. No diet does that. He'd put the whole thing in writing himself.
I'm making this video to apologize. because I fucked up, because I'm embarrassed and ashamed, because I lied and I misled a lot of people.
In December 2022, he posts the apology. The first 30 seconds are the realest he's ever looked, and he says it flat out, I lied. He fucked up, misled people, and seems to be embarrassed. Then he pivots. He starts explaining that the Liver King persona was an experiment, or a mission. He claimed it was a way to raise awareness for the thousands of people a day who struggle with their mental health. He claimed the lie was purely a sacrifice for a good cause. There's probably something slightly real in there, but this is the oldest move in the influencer book. You get caught, so you try and backtrack and turn it into virtue signaling, and you make the apology into a comeback all on its own. When you take one costume off of him, he immediately reaches for another.
I'm going to attempt to eat my body weight in testicles today. You can track my progress on the testicle ticker below, and it starts right now.
The damage was real though. The brand was built on the word that he just called a lie, and you can't walk that back. Customers who'd bought the dream and the pills filed lawsuits saying they'd been deceived. The fantasy died really fast. Unfortunately for him, the company took a lot longer. The Liver King only worked while you half believed his body was real. Once everyone knew about the needle, he was some guy in his underwear screaming lies through his teeth. For a while, that was the whole story. A guy who got caught lying and everyone laughed at. But a few years later, it stopped being funny.
I'm picking a fight. If anyone who's around us can alert us that there might be anyone with the last name Rogan around, then I'll happily go the other 200 yards.
June 2025, Brian Johnson starts posting videos that are hard to watch. He's pacing, talking fast. In some of them, he's shirtless in an animal fur headdress holding 2 gold rifles, and he's challenging Joe Rogan to a fight by name repeatedly. He films himself calling Rogan out.
Joe Rogan, I'm calling you out. My name's Liver King. Man to man. I'm picking a fight with you. I have 0 training in jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt. You should dismantle me, but I'm picking a fight with you.
He says he's picking a fight and that he's driving to Austin where he lives, and he has no fighting background. Joe Rogan is a jiu-jitsu black belt, so none of it makes any sense. Austin police saw the videos, and they also saw that he was actually traveling to Austin while still posting threats actively. They called Joe Rogan, who said he'd never met the man, and found his posts threatening. On June 24th, 2025, they arrested Brian Johnson at the Four Seasons in Austin and charged him with making a terroristic threat. He was out the next day on a $20,000 bond. The conditions were that he had to stay away from Joe Rogan and his family, he couldn't have any firearms, and he had to have an ankle monitor. A mental health evaluation within a week. Joe Rogan's read on it reportedly was that the man seemed unstable and needed serious help. I'm not going to diagnose him, but the act stopped being an act somewhere in there. It went from a man running a smart marketing campaign to a man who was going insane.
Hopefully that you can make a calculated risk that magnifies the reward, but never at the risk of self, really, unless the reward is worth it.
So here's where it all leaves him. He admitted to the steroids, and his supplement empire shriveled. He picked up a terroristic threat charge, a restraining order, and a court-ordered mental health evaluation. And he kept posting, still hinting that he wants to attack Joe Rogan. The grift part is simple, and you're allowed to be angry about it. He looked at a country full of insecure, worn-out men and sold them a story about being natural and strong, and ran a $12,000 a month pharmacy in his house the entire time. That's just straight up fraud. The harder part is what was under it. His whole public self-image was purely a costume he built to sell pills. The natural man, the cave, and the mission, none of it was him. When the internet pulled the costume off, nobody could have ever expected what was left. He's 47. He's on an ankle monitor in Texas, posting to 3 million people, asking a stranger to fight him. The man who built a fortune telling you to go outside and to live like a caveman can't even legally leave his own house.
I'm going for the testicles right away because they don't taste that great.